Hello everybody, this is your student Facebook meteorologist Sean Bagden here, and we're going to be going over your forecast for day 7 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And this is for day 7 of the National Weather Forecast Challenge. So, here's currently what is going on with the day 6 forecast right now. We just hit our high temperature of 69 degrees, and that is exactly what we forecasted for. So finally doing pretty well with our high temperatures here. Generally, we've been going right on what the high end of guidance is. I think that's just because models have a hard time picking up the convergent boundary that does develop here in the central Michigan area, which allows for rapid heating from compressional warming because of the boundary that develops there. So I believe that's why we see that happen quite a bit. Low temperature, we have not hit that yet. That's going to happen at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I believe we're going to get down to 49. It may go down to 48, so I'm a little nervous about that. But I think 49 is not a bad forecast for this. And winds, we've already had our peak winds with our frontal passage we had a little earlier today. Right around sunrise, we hit 26 knots. So only 1 point of error so far that has been realized. High temperature spot on, precip spot on, wind 2 knots off, and minimum temperature. We are still waiting on that number to come in. We'll likely come in at 2 a.m. with that. So now we're going to go into the forecast. Here's our latest satellite imagery across the area, across the whole country actually, into Canada. And we can clearly see we have this northwest flow regime across the area funneling into Michigan, and it looks like this is going to stay in place across the area at least for the next few days here, with dry air just getting funneled in to the area. So expecting clear and sunny skies for the next few days, along with cool air in place. So we'd expect our temperatures to be decreasing for highs and lows. Maybe even some frost behind this boundary that we've just received here. Can clearly see it here, about to give New England some severe weather there. So that's what we have now. We're going to start off with looking at, actually, here's our current observations, current METAR observations. We can clearly see this dry air getting advected in here. Current dew points are in the upper 40s to low 50s across Michigan here, and then decreasing back towards the high plains here on northwesterly flow, getting those dew points down into the low and mid 30s back here. That's showing that dry air mass coming in, which is going to allow for clear skies and cold nights for the next few days here, while we wait for the return flow to come up out of the desert southwest. So now we're going to start looking at what our current conditions are and comparing that to what models are showing. We're going to start out, as usual, with the NAM 3KM and see how that is performing here. We'll tend to go on the high end of the NAM 3K. We're going for KGRR. Alright, currently shows, actually we're going to go to this first frame here, which is 15Z. Our conditions at 15Z were as follows. Right here, 15Z, we had temperature of 66, dew point 48, 66, 48, and that actually looks pretty reasonable, I believe, right here. We may go, yeah, I think 2 degrees higher than what this is showing is a good way to go. Definitely. Actually, maybe a degree. Yeah, we'll go a degree higher here. And we can see through the afternoon, temperatures start to plummet with this very dry, clear air in place across the region, dropping to 6Z at 6Z to around that 50-degree mark. We said 49, so a pretty good bet there. Dew points don't seem to be falling off too much, which is of concern here. I do think they will drop off a little quicker than this model is showing. Yeah, look at that subsidence inversion in place across the area here. Actually, this is a radiation inversion. This is your subsidence inversion right up there. But wow, that is strong across the area. Looking like that goes down to a low of 44, so we'll go low of 45 across the area here. And then temperatures rebound, but not nearly as much as today due to that cold northwesterly flow. Let's see if temperatures tonight or tomorrow night drop below that 45 mark. And I'm not seeing that happening. So we're going to start off with saying that our low temperature is going to drop to 45 degrees. We're obviously going to cross-check that with other models here. Once we are able to get out of this loop right here. There we go. Alright, so let's go back here to the other morning 1 second just to check our environment here that we're dealing with. Check the surface environment especially. Yep, this is showing 45 degrees about for a low, and you have those weak surface winds. Not looking for much cloud cover, so I think this is pretty reasonable right here. May even see it go 44. We'll have to check on that. I think 45 is pretty good though, because temperatures seem to have a hard time falling near the lakes here. That's just been my observation lately. So we're going to go to the H wharf right now, ARW. And this goes 1 hourly, so it's a lot more accurate here. Let's go back to 15Z again. Very important we go back to 15Z. This is 66.47. Okay, and again, pretty good here. I think this is going to show us pretty well what's going on. See if this drops us down to 45 or so. If it goes a little lower than 45, we may have to consider dropping that low temperature down to 43. But I would highly doubt we get down to 43. That's kind of concerning. But this would show us getting right around to that 43 mark here, given that dew point dropping so rapidly, which is definitely interesting. Okay, it looks like 45 may actually be a good low temperature to go with here. Oh, interesting. We'll have to closely watch that 43 mark though too, because it looks like it drops down to that level. Very interesting. Yeah, we may end up going with that 43 mark. Hold on, we're going to go the NSSL right here. Check that out for a low temperature, see what we have. Again, this goes down to that 42 range. NAM seems to have been struggling on lows recently too. Looks like we have some good consistency around that 42 number here tomorrow morning. Seems very reasonable as well, given our dew points right here. Although I may consider going 43. Let's go with the latest her run as of 12Z. See what this does. We'll start it out at hour 3. And 67.47, here we go. Okay, 67.47. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we're going to go a degree lower than what the her has here. And generally her mixes out the dew points pretty quickly. So it's no surprise that it has it dropping out. Actually, a degree warmer than the her, sorry. Because the her generally mixes out dew points, which allows temperatures to drop much quicker than they otherwise would, creating lower low temperatures across the regions. Okay, so here we are. This is right around nightfall, 7-8 p.m. Temperatures dropping through the mid and low 50s right here. This right here is right around the end of the forecast period at 2 a.m. Temperatures yet again drop towards the 50-degree mark. And here we go. We approach sunrise right around that 48 degrees, 47. It looks like we're going to have 2 camps here, which is quite interesting. One camp around 45 degrees, another right up around the 42 degree range. I'm inclined to go with that higher range, just given what has happened recently with conditions across the area. They generally have had a hard time falling. So we're going to go with that low of 45 for right now. Let's just have one last look at this. 46, yeah, I think 45 is a good way to go. Hovered it right around 46, 45, that area. NAM goes about the same, 46, 45. Then we have those outlier models going down into the low 40s. But due to that strong flow out of the northwest, I don't think we get there to the low 40s. I think mid 40s is going to be pretty reasonable. Even though surface winds don't appear like they're going to be all that strong. Okay, so high temperatures, again, we're going to go about 2 degrees warmer than what we have here, just because models have been woefully underperforming on temperatures, and that was what caused our big bust early on. We would have done much better if we went on the high end of guidance. Okay, so this is our NAM 3K going through the night tonight. Again, temperatures dropping into the mid 40s right here. NAM does go down to 44. Interesting. Could see a 43. I am intrigued by that, actually. Hold on, everybody. Winds do slacken. And we do have that radiation inversion in place. May go 44. A little bit lower. I'm not going to go with the all-in with the 43 or whatever they have going on. Just because those dew points really have a hard time dropping off here. Yeah, I think 44 is a good way to go because not a lot of models have us reaching saturation here. Okay, so now we're going over to high temperatures right now. KGRR should have stayed there. Oh well. So here we go. We're going to head into the afternoon hours tomorrow, get ourselves a high temperature, and then move on to wind, which is quite easy as we normally just go with the NAM on wind forecasts. So here we go, NAM, we're going to be expecting temperatures slightly lower than they were today. Again, keyword slightly lower. Looks like the NAM is going for a high temperature right around 64 degrees, so we'll put that at 66 degrees for our high temperature. Seems about right, given that we're seeing sunny skies tomorrow. And that, yeah, that definitely makes sense. And we're going to head over to the HER here and make sure this seems reasonable per the HER. HER goes, okay, right around 66 degrees there. Yep, 66. Looks like we're pretty good consensus on that 66 number here. A lot of models showing that right now. Let's go the H-war for high temperature. Again, looks like we're hovering around that. Oh, interesting. This does go a little lower. So that's because our overnight temperatures on these are definitely much lower as well. I would assume to see the same thing on the NSSL right here. Yeah, that's also showing a relatively lower temperature right here. Right around 62. But I think 66 seems pretty reasonable just given what we have seen recently. And this is because of cloud cover in place as well. I don't think we see that much cloud cover because that warm air we've been seeing in place recently, and we have that inversion aloft, which is going to decrease cloud cover as well. It's going to help with that. So I think we're going to go with that 66 number that we have right here. Wind speeds, we're going to go with King NAM 3K on this one. Has been very good with forecasting our wind speeds recently. Looks like our winds are going to be much weaker than they have been of recent here. Definitely much weaker than today. Looks like right here we have 20 knot boundary layer winds. Very weak, yeah. Maybe 22 at the most right there. Yeah, it's hard to imagine that we get much more than 22 knots in boundary layer wind here. Maybe earlier in the period, right around that 6Z time frame we do. But I highly doubt that. Yeah. I'd say 22. Yeah, I think that's 22 knots boundary layer we'll go with. So, using the rule of 60%, we're going to go 22 knots maximum boundary layer wind times 0.6 for the deceleration with height. And that's going to give us a wind speed tomorrow. Sustained wind max around 13 knots, which seems relatively reasonable to me. And going over to our NAM model run, we're going to have a look at our warm air advection, cold air advection scheme right here on lower dynamics on tropical tidbits in the 850 millibar level to see if we have any stronger areas of frontogenesis in place. So this is Wednesday right here. And we're looking past 6Z on Thursday. And as we can see, very minimal frontogenic forcing will be in place across the region through the period. So really not expecting much in the way of precipitation tomorrow. So we're going to throw a 0 on our precipitation. So now we're going to go and confirm that high temperature of ours which looks like we have 2 camps on that high temperature reading there. And also we may go as low as 43 on the low, depending on what we see on the model guidance here on Brian Tang's page, as I didn't realize the NAM was going right around 44 degrees in its intervals there. High temperature is what has the 2 camps right now. It appears there's some in the low 60s and then some in the mid and upper 60s, so we'll have to closely keep an eye on that. So here's Brian Tang's page right here. We're going to start with that 2 meter temperature. Again, looks like we have some pretty solid consistency amongst the NAM and the GFS runs, just to make sure. Yep, this is for the 8th. Pretty good consistency with our high temperature through the day tomorrow. I think we're going to hang out with that 66 degree number that we have right here. Seems pretty reasonable given what we're seeing. Low temperature dropping down to 44. Yikes. I don't see these solutions happening down here. These seem extremely low because I was not seeing the NAM doing such a thing as this. Because if we go back here, 12Z NAM, it's showing it dropping it down to right around 40, 39 degrees at 12Z. Oops. 40, 39 degrees at 12Z tomorrow. And right here we can clearly see, that it has our temperature right around 44. We can also look at other models at that 12Z time frame. Again, we have that 47 degree area right here. 47, 46. 46. Yeah, so I think we're gonna go just 1 degree lower than the NAM because it is a little bit after the sunrise occurs. What is 12Z? 12Z is 8 a.m. So I would expect that we drop to right around 43. That would make sense, at least for me, with this scenario here. Here's the H wharf. Right at 11Z here, drops down to 42 degrees. A lot of models seem to be hovering right in that 42 to 44 degree range. So I think 43 does seem most reasonable here. And again, wind right around 13 knots. That's not too debatable. But we will again check this out just in case. We'll cross-check it with the HER, see if it's consistent with those 22 knot boundary layer winds tomorrow on Thursday. Here we go. Again, this is 3, 4, 5, 6Z tomorrow. Boundary layer wind should be on the increase as we get that daytime heating and instability. Right now we're at about sunrise as the temperature drops down to that range of around 44 degrees. 44 degrees or so. And we start getting that instability in place as the daytime heating commences. And we can see that our boundary layer winds here are yet again showing us, maybe a little bit stronger here on the HER, which is interesting. It's showing it right around 25. which is interesting. But I don't think we go over 15 miles an hour, especially with no precipitation tomorrow. I don't see that happening. Yeah, and then again, it drops down to like 20, 22 knots right there. Yeah, I think what we have there for wind is definitely within reason. Okay, here's our precipitation forecast. Again, literally 0 precipitation because we're measuring on the scale of 10 to the negative third here. So this is like 1,000th of an inch of precipitation. That's probably something like fog they're analyzing there. So definitely nothing to keep an eye out on there. And then our 12Z model run wind guidance here shows us getting close to that 22 max boundary layer wind speed here with sustained winds at the surface right around that 14 knot area. We went 15 just in case we see something a little higher go on here. So that is about all we have for this presentation on day 6. Day 7 forecast for Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow. Also, we will be going live at some point tomorrow on my Facebook page, Sean Bagden, Extreme Storm Chaser, talking about the potential for a nor'easter pattern to be setting up along the East Coast with potential for heavy mountain snows to begin falling as early as the 17th of October as we head into strong storm season here on the East Coast and the Northeast. Have a great day, everybody.